you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Prime Time. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?
Good morning, Nigeria. You're tuned in now to your favorite youth-powered breakfast show this beautiful Friday morning, a place where vibrant minds unpack everything from politics to governance, social realities, tech innovations, and the everyday issues that shape our future. Today, we're going to spotlight the importance of preparing for the future of work, a future driven by technology, remote innovation, and digital safety. As Peter Drucker once said, the best way to predict the future is actually to create it. And that's exactly what today's conversation is all about, helping you understand the shifts in the job market and how to position yourself to thrive. My name is Oluchi Precious Omenk, and as always, I'm excited to share the table with none other than God's beauty herself. We've got a loaded conversation ahead, and trust me, you don't want to miss a second of it. Let's dive in. Good morning, girl.
Good morning. You look beautiful. What's going on with the dress?
So I have a confession, guys. I'm going for an Owambe today.
Hey.
You know, I always like to laud it because I do not always go for one. I remember last December into January, I was so excited to tell you guys I'll be going for a wedding after a very long time.
Yeah.
So today is one of those days, and I don't want to be changing clothes. So I say, let me wear my own bed clothes.
It looks beautiful on you.
Thank you so much. And you look great yourself.
Thank you.
Any plans for the weekend?
No plans for the weekend.
No
I want
plans.
to rest. Yeah, to be honest.
Resting is actually a plan.
Oh, it's a plan.
Yes,
okay.
we should start
Rest.
normalizing resting as a plan.
Okay.
So when next I ask, you say, yes, I have, in fact, a major plan.
Fantastic plan.
A major plan to rest so well, because it's actually very needed. I mean, recently I just realized that quality sleep is not the same as quantity kind of sleep, in the sense that you could be sleeping 6 hours a day and you wake up feeling as fatigued
Tired, yeah.
as, like, I'm wondering, didn't I just sleep? And I think it has been happening to me for a while, and I've been trying to, like, sort it. And I've just been thinking, maybe because my ever-working brain is still working while sleeping, so I'm not able to get into that rest mode. But let's see how the weekend goes, if I'll be able to really take away the worries of this world, because I've got Jesus on the throne, right?
Come on.
And, you know, just slip into it. So I want to ask you this very interesting
Tell
question.
me.
I saw someone ask it. I'm like, oh, let me ask Girls Beauty.
Okay.
She's always the one with the lines and the words. Let's see how she's going to respond.
Wow.
If you were going to describe yourself as a flower,
Okay.
what flower would you be?
That's a lot.
St. Lim.
Oh, go pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Wow.
But what flower would you describe yourself as?
So I'm actually not very good with flowers, right?
Okay,
But
let me change it from flowers.
Okay.
Color.
Color.
Color has its own theory too. So if you were
It's-
supposed to be a color, what kind of color do you think
I already
you'd
know
be?
what it is.
Tell
it has
me.
to be purple or maybe
Purple.
black, yes, because then it's something that you don't get to understand what it is at first. You look at it and you're like, okay, what's this? It's just like black. I feel like black is really underrated. I think it's one of the best colors so far. Black, white, and purple. Purple especially, right? So even though they are like different shades to it compared to like white or black, but then there's this deep, very...
These analogies that you're giving.
You should have said
it's
she use
becoming
lines
deep.
and words
I
now.
just say pick one color. She done they do hand like this.
But I would always go for purple because I
Purple.
feel like, yes, it's a color that is not really looked out. You know,
Purple actually signify royalty. So
Amen
that's
to
one
that.
thing. Do you know what I'm going to go for? I'm going to go for orange. And that's because I
Orange.
can't pick between what's the color? Red and yellow.
Oh, I know.
So
I know
that's
yellow
what
was part
makes
of it.
up orange. And red shows a personality of mine that is vibrant, energetic and out there. And the yellow and the orange, sorry, is it orange now?
Yeah,
Yeah, so the yellow shows someone that is bright and cheerful, and then the mysterious girl. So I think I'm a combination of both, and that's why I think orange is just gonna best describe me. So yeah,
I
we
like
didn't
that.
plan for this color theory today. Looking at the fact that we're both wearing black, but you get the gist, right? So today is Friday, and like I've mentioned, we've got a loaded conversation for you. Today is Friday. Friday is usually our tech and innovation segment, so you don't want to miss what we have set for you today. We're going to go on a short break. When we return, we'll come back with our newspaper reviews across the globe, Nigeria and international. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. Welcome back. I'm sure you caught today in history. I'd love to know your thoughts on these historical milestones. Remember, you're always the main ingredient in all of our conversations, and you can reach us via 07025007749 or 07014242420. If you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, join the 20,000 people that has already subscribed. So go now to the official Upgrade TV, click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune into channel 145, and be part of what happens here every single day. We're going to look through the newspaper this morning to see what's making waves across the globe. Let's start with the international papers.
All right, straight into the South China Morning Post newspaper. By the top left corner, we have tobacco and media tycoon debt at 75. Center top banner, we have businesses urged to remain cautious. Top right corner, regulating the gig economy. Then the main headline, which is at the center left, has XI to skip annual United Nations meeting in New York. Main photo story, that's at the center right, we have sole survivor at Air India flight crashes on takeoff. The bottom of the front page, which is the last headline on the newspaper, has joint operation launch hours after display opens. So there's a lot of headlines here that I would want to talk on. So we'll start from the one at the center top, which is businesses urged to remain cautious. So economists are telling businesses in Hong Kong to don't get too comfortable or start spending big just yet. Now, even though recent trade numbers look good, meaning Hong Kong is doing okay in business and export, they swear it won't last. This is mainly because of unpredictable politics, especially from Donald Trump, who is known for using trade wars and pressure tactics as a political tool. So this is just to give us more updates on what's going on. From yesterday we said that. Was it yesterday or the day before? We were talking about the agreements that both the Chinese government and the United States, that's Donald Trump, how the agreement that they both agreed on, that's for 6 months, right?
Okay.
Where the Chinese people are giving the United States some of their rare earth resources, more like their cars, more like all of the, the techie, whatever that they do in China, right? So they are passing it on to the United States. Why the United States in return will allow students from China, be able to school in the United States. So that's one of the agreements that they had. And even though, if you remember that day, I was saying that the tariff that is imposed on both parties are a lot, especially from the United States. All the China goods that are imported, are, I think by 55%, added on the tariff, and I feel like that's a lot really coming from the United States. Why for China, goods imported, that is brought in from the United States to China is just 10% tariff that was added upon it. So just look at it. The margin is actually a lot, exactly. But then, economists has come out to say that there's even with do I call it ridiculous agreement? China is still making a bit more of profit, right? They are, the fact that they are able to still send their tech-related resources to the United States and still make money. So it's looking like they are making funds. But then the economists are saying, Oga, in as much as we can see right now that the numbers are good, I think we should not do anything. So more like companies should not, invest too much into any other business. They should just hold on for now. Because just in case Trump decides to change his mind, do you get what it is? So that's that.
I wonder why their news is always, it doesn't have like headway, if I want to say that. You know what I mean by that? It's almost like today they're coming to a balance where both parties are agreeing, and then the next day it's changed. But we can't take away the fact
I think that on this one they're just being cautious, really, because I mean, when it comes to issues with Trump, you really cannot tell when he's going to agree or disagree. So now that they are both in alignment, I mean, there should also be that just in case. They should be cautious just in case anything happens. If today Trump says, okay, you know what, I don't want the United States to have anything to do with China, they are going to lose. They're going to, suffer the loss for it if they eventually put in money where they are not supposed to. So it's important that, they are cautious and they just keep looking at things the way they are, at least for 6 months, given the term of the agreement. All right, there's this other one I saw, which is regulating the gig economy. Just a minute. I love that particular story a lot because I think it's something that even relates to what we'll be speaking on, today, given our topic, right? Yeah. Now, let me quickly read in detail. This one says the article focuses on how experts are debating new rules to manage the gig economy. That is short-term freelance, contract-based jobs like delivery rides, Uber drivers, online freelancers. Now, while gig work offers flexibility and freedom, it often lacks job security, health benefits, and legal protection for workers, which is something that we already know. But then you see that the Chinese government coming out to say, okay, you know what, there needs to be a regulation. But of course, you know how critics are. Some people are like, okay, regulation, yes, because, I mean, just like all of these things that we've mentioned, just like we have here in HMO and the rest, when you're working in 9 to 5, you have, the liberty to all of those things or the opportunity to all of those things. But then if you're, into the freelance or whatever, nobody really cares. I mean, theirs is to just pay you what you're supposed to be paid. Yeah, exactly, and everybody keeps it moving. But then they're looking at how they can also incorporate all of those things for the gig economy as well. So I think it's a good plan, but then they should be able to create a balance so that the gig economy don't start looking like, more 9 to 5. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
So what exactly do they want to put in place? They want to ensure
normal regulations. So things like, health, what do you call that? Health package. Yeah, packages. Like all of those things should be,
it's when the remote workers say they want it
exactly.
to give them. Did they tell you that they are lacking anything?
That's the thing. But I feel like again, this thing you said is more like the normal Nigerian mentality that we have here.
Yeah.
So compared to a country like China that's already thinking of, the progress of the economy, progress of their citizens and all. So they will always want to put all of these things in mind. Because normally, I feel like, every citizen is supposed to be, entitled to HMO and all of those things.
Yeah.
So, yes, now that they're looking at it, we love this gig economy thing, but I still feel like all of these things should also be incorporated. So, I think it's a fantastic idea,
It's fantastic, really. Especially if the regulation is going to help curb exploitation.
Exactly.
Because also in gig economy, I think we've had on this table, I always remember some of the discussions that we've had, where someone was saying that some of these people like to prey on maybe like Nigerian talent because they know that Nigerian talent, they easily just want to get some of these jobs.
Yeah.
So something that they would pay a Chinese worker or somebody in the United States of America $1,000, Nigerians would be ready to take it for $300 so that they can take the $700. Somebody was even telling me one time that sometimes some of these skills, you don't need to know how to do them. Content writing, copywriting, all of them. Just have people that can do them and are willing to take it for just a few 100, maybe 150K or 200K. And you are taking 750.
You can imagine.
Do you understand? So I think that the regulation will be needed because of the exploitation that is very heavy in that industry. I mean, the normal 9 to 5 has structure and system.
So there's more exploitation happening.
But this life is like this. Like you always mention, pros and cons.
Yeah.
The one that has regulation, maybe
they don't have the cash enough.
As you would think. As you would think. To some extent, honestly, because things are really changing.
But there's this other one I also want to know.
You have plenty of story for us
today. The headlines are very, very, interesting.
Let's have it. Let's have
this one say XI2 skip annual United Nations meeting in New York. So the Chinese president is not attending the upcoming United Nations General Assembly, that's UNGA, in New York, a big international event where world leaders usually gather to discuss global issues. Now, given the agreement campaign that they have, the Chinese government have with the United States. It's quite weird why the Chinese president doesn't want to attend to, you know, this particular conference. And, you know, there are speculations around probably because he doesn't want to meet Donald Trump in person, so that they don't have any heated conversation. So I think it's really a funny one. But then let's see how it goes and how this would impact, you know, China's economy. Because given that this particular meeting is something that all, you know, world leaders are supposed to be there. So now that you say you don't want to go, I mean, are they not going to be speculation? Are they not going to be asking questions? What exactly? Why you're not here? So
some world leaders can be questioned.
So let's see how it goes, really.
All
But that's
right.
all I have for you on the newspaper.
Thank you so much for that. Let's see what the paper has for us. Firstly, I have to mention that there was something devastating I saw this morning on CNN, the Instagram page, and it was a gory sight. So there was this particular plane crash that I saw the pictures. That's why it was more gory, because sometimes you just read, you know, the analysis. This was actually the pictures of a plane that had to crash into a building, and numbers, I mean, hundreds of lives were lost again, and it's a very sad one. Anytime I read stories like that, there's a lot of sympathy that I'm, you know, that I'm expressing, honestly, and I'm short of words, honestly. But let me take you through what the Punch has for us. Still in the spirit of the June 12th celebration yesterday, the Punch highlights here knocks and kudos as Tinubu honors June 12 heroes. Soyinka and 58 others honored. Sarawiwa and Ogoni and other people were also pardoned. Critics flay president for Umar and Odumakin plus others commission. All right, above that, we see Democracy Day fireworks, Tinubu opposition trade blows. Protesters, APC supporters hold parallel rallies in Lagos, Abuja. And the very large display here is showing the commissioning by the president of the Apple-Wasa Road today. All right, let me take you through this particular honorarium story that has been making waves since yesterday. It's a very long read, but because I want us to have proper context, I'm going to read it. I love to read, so let's listen. It says, President Bola Tinubu on Thursday attracted praises and knocks for the list of honoraries, right? He announced as democracy heroes, while some Nigerians lauded the president for his tributes to the heroes of the June 12, 1993 struggles. Others lamented that key names were conspicuously omitted from the list. The late Moshood Abiola was named winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, regarded as the freest and fairest in the country, which was annulled by the military under General Ibrahim Babangida. And following the annulment, several prominent Nigerians who spoke vociferously against the military decision were killed, incarcerated under frivolous charges, while others went on exile for fear of being hounded. The president, in the exercise of his powers on Thursday, bestowed national honors to activists, journalists, scholars, and fallen pro-democracy icons. He also granted a presidential pardon and conferred honors on the Ogoni Nine, led by Ken Saro-Wiwa, who was executed on November 10, 1995 by the military junta. The Ogoni Nine, pardon me, what was I reading? Including Sarawiwa were executed following their protest against Shell's oil activity in the region. The list was announced during Tinubu's Democracy Day address to a joint session of the National Assembly while celebrating those who opposed military rule. And living honoraries include Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka and General Alani Akinrinade, retired now, each elevated to Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, civil rights lawyer. There's also Femi Falana San, Bishop Matthew Kuka, Dare Babarisa, Professor Julius Ihonvebere, Senator Shehu Sani, and Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani received Commander of the Order of the Niger, and others also backed Commander of the Federal Republic of Niger, Office of the Order of Niger, and so on and so on. Let me now skip to the part that seems to cause an uproar. It says the list also failed to recognize prominent Nigerians like Yinka Odumaki, Babafemi Ojudo, Professor Mokugo Okoye, Dr. Tunji Abayomi, Dele Momodu, Author Nwakwo, Niran Malaolu, Tunde Oladepo, and others who was reportedly murdered by late General Sani Abacha's henchmen. Meanwhile, the president, in his closing remarks, said the award of national honor was not foreclosed. I think, firstly, we have to commend the fact that, you know, it was seen as, important to honor people, because the reason we're celebrating June 12th, I mean, the reason why it's not May 29, but June 12th, is to honor people who have lost their life, during the 1993 elections, especially MKO Abiola, because it was, perceived as one of the freest and fairest elections until it was annulled, and then someone had to die. So it seemed quite commendable that, the president will honor certain people who lost their lives in that battle, because it was real battle. I think Peter was trying to tell me some movies that already depict, what really happened in that scene. I didn't watch the movie, but I saw a thriller of it, and I could feel the tension that could have happened in 1993, the helter-skelter, people trying to say we're fighting for our rights and somebody's life is being lost. When I was just looking at this, I just realized that, well, at the end of the day, if you lose your life, you just be... I don't want to make it look that way, but now they're being honored. So Nigerians have come out to say that certain people are still not being honored. And the president, I think in one of his speeches, mentioned that some of these lists are being disclosed. And I don't think that is the right way to address something like this. Because if you even decide to honor people, right, to commemorate the June 12th elections that was annulled, it should be general. Nothing should be left hidden. In fact, the most insignificant in that sense of anybody that contributed or that fought or maybe were misunderstood, do you understand, misrepresented, everybody should be appreciated. Not just people that seem like they'll be best fit for the award. Because generally, if you notice the way award ceremony work these days, I mean, not just politics now, but in different sector, it feels like people like to give award to those that they feel fits that category. Like, it's just special for us to give you this award, because when you announce that you're the winner of this award, it also presents us in a good light, right? So I think that should not play here. Everyone that had anything to do at all, anyone, I mean, just go through history, ask the right questions, even to families. Do you understand? And ensure that people are awarded as they ought to. So I was looking at everything. I would firstly say it's commendable. At least it makes the president look like someone who is at the forefront of upholding the very integrity of democracy. Do you understand? And I think let's see how it goes from there. Trust Nigerians. I think that Nigerians are super critical of our president. Everything he does, people are coming out to say, did you watch you were the one that sent one particular interview?
Yes.
Please tell me what he said again. It was quite
hilarious. I mean, it was quite funny that, our president was using the word sexy.
The Gen Z word.
Exactly. He was like, we're going to make agriculture more sexy by providing tractors. I'm like, our president.
He didn't write this speech, sir.
He didn't write this.
You have a Gen Z.
He has a Gen Z. There's nothing else you want to say on this one.
But that's quite interesting. So now let's move to The Guardian. The Guardian has other interesting stories here. It says NNPC remits 4.7 trillion naira as oil revenue shortfall hits $5.7 billion. June 12, Soludo, Fashola and Jega advocate electoral reforms and national rebirth. One passenger survives as plane crash and kills over 260 in India. This was the story I was telling you that I saw on CNN this morning. And one person here survived. Do you know what it means for one person to survive out of 200 plus people that died? That's how is that person...
Mental health.
Not just mental health, the trauma response.
That's what I'm saying. Everything.
For me, as a born-again Christian, is to give testimony and thank
what
God.
God cannot do does not
But honestly, it's so sad that a number of people... I don't know the full details of the story, what could have caused the plane crash or whatever, but it's quite sad. And I think apart from the people that even died from the plane, the house that they crashed into, I'm wondering what even happened to them, because I saw pictures of the houses that were destroyed because of this plane. That reminds me of a particular movie I watched one time where a particular plane crashed. I think two planes collided together and crashed and killed not just the people in the plane, but people around. It's like natural disaster is something we really don't want to ever experience. And on the June 12th as well, we see President and Nigerians differ on progress and impact 32 years after. Still on Democracy Day, Storytable honors Alex Ibru, Kudirat, Nwosu, Akinyemi, and others with national awards. Abiola family seeks legislation to institutionalize June 12. Okay. Alia accuses religious leaders of fueling insecurity in Benue. Windstorm kills 6 and injures 30 in Taraba. Emergency services at risk, over 80%, blood shortage in hospitals. And the last story says varsities must score 70% in 4 key areas to get full NUC accreditation, says federal government. And that's all the story that we have today. Now, the Guardian didn't highlight this particular story, but if you check their website, you will see another story that actually did make sense for me. So today is Friday. I feel like at the end of the week, we have mentioned a lot of things that have happened in politics. We have been agitated on this table. But I felt like giving us some good news and good updates across the nation. Moving away from Lagos, the state, my own state, Abia State, God's own state, we saw that, you know, the governor had commissioned 14 new roads in one day. I think that's a very commendable feat. Should I tell you why? Because amongst the eastern states, Abia used to be one of the states that was criticized for lacking infrastructural development. Honestly, I mean, I had a lot of people that would bring proofs. They'll tell you Imo State, Anambra, Enugu, those ones. I mean, Peter Obi came from where again? It's not Anambra. You say, oh, those ones, they used to pay attention, but in Abia, it's just there. The roads are bad and everything. And seeing that Governor Alex Oti, this is not to blow anybody's trumpet, but when we see good work, we talk about it. When we see bad, we also talk about it. So Governor Alex Oti of Abia State has commissioned 14 newly rehabilitated roads in Aba and its environs, signifying a significant step in the state infrastructure renewal agenda. I watched the video on this particular Instagram page that seems to highlight, you know, the Igbo tradition and, you know, things happening across, and it was very beautiful to behold. To also talk about another good story would be the one I watched as well. I think Kiki mentioned it last Friday about the commissioning of a particular hospital in Abuja that attends to patients that have critical needs. Now, you know, normally in Nigeria, if we have people that have to do major surgeries, like, you know, maybe chemotherapy or any major surgery, we usually do not trust the system here. So you see them flying them abroad. You see flyers of, oh, we are raising 10 million to go to India to do this surgery and all. But thankfully, honestly, this is a great news. We've seen innovations from Afrexim Bank, and I'm trying to pick the other, I think it's ACME in Abuja. So this collaboration has made them build something quite worthwhile to address, you know, critical issues like this. So that means that people don't have to fly over again. Well, people had different questions that this one it is in Abuja, what's going to be the cost of it and everything. But I don't want us to look at it that way. Let's start from appreciating that, okay, a step has already been made, because I saw videos and pictures of it. It actually did look world class. Do you understand? So it showed, I think they had some collaboration with some institutions abroad as well. So it's not just a Nigerian thing. It was like a lot of collaborations together. And you know, the popular Apoko doctor, I mean, he's a medical influencer in that sense. So he was one giving updates on it. I had to even share it on my story. I'm like, this is the kind of change that we want, that we desire. And I hope that as we have sown that seed in the health sector, it begins to spread. We'll see more in Lagos, in major cities, even in the north as well, because this whole thing of always traveling abroad, I mean, you hear some celebrities say they can't have their children here in the country. Why? They don't trust the system. They don't trust the, you know, infrastructure that we have. But we're getting better. And I'm deliberately talking about good news this Friday, because Friday has to end on a good note. So that's all the story that I have for you this morning. We'll take a short break. When we return, we're going to talk about the future of work opportunities in tech. And this is a conversation that every young person should be part of. So please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
I describe myself as a polyhumanitarian, someone who believes politics should be rooted in love for country and empathy for its people. I'm thrilled to introduce to you Politics Uncensored, a show dedicated to tackling the political challenges that matter most to Nigerians. This is more than just a show. It's a space for honest, unfiltered conversations about the issues that shape our nation. From policy reforms to elections, leadership tussles to governance at all levels, and the overall political landscape in Nigeria. We will dive deep into how politics is impacting our everyday lives. So join me on this journey as we challenge the status quo, spark dialogue, and work together to build a brighter future for Nigeria. Let's make our voices heard and drive the change we deserve.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back, our viewers, and thank you for sticking with us and joining us in all of our conversation. Today is Friday, and you already know on this table, there's always a segment for every day. There's always a highlight for every day. Mondays, we talk politics, governance. Tuesday, we're talking social issues. Wednesday, health-related concerns. On Thursday, social issues again. And then on Fridays, for tech innovations and sometimes after-school life. So today, we're going to be elaborating on the future of work opportunities for young people. This is a show that is tailored for young individuals, for Gen Zs, in quotes, because it shows it's something that really is very important to everyone today. I mean, if you take cognizance of the young ones in your generation, then the future surely would look bright. So I'm bringing this discussion today to talk about, firstly, transitioning from higher institution into the workforce and making progress afterwards. And I'm going to start with, we're going to have a guest later on today, hopefully. But before that, let's start the conversation. So I saw something recently, and the person was trying to sow fear into people. So this is how they first, this kind of clickbait thing. I don't know why people feel like clickbait should firstly be about fear. I think people should start changing all of those things. I even had to skip through it because what kind of pressure? What kind of pressure is this on a Monday morning? But later on, in having to reflect and think about some things that you just randomly see, I was beginning to see reasons and why the person will mention that. So the person firstly said that do not be so excited with your convocation picture and, with the whole vibe of, I'm finally done with school, because there's something else that happens after school that many people are usually not prepared and, maybe best fit into. And it was like, well, we already know this, right? So what then is the solution to it? And today's conversation is going to be from personal experience, a lot of things that we have heard from experts, and maybe to inspire one or two persons out there that is probably listening to us. The fact that there is actually, if you look, many times when we come on this table, or when you hear a lot of media people talk, you hear a lot of problems that stems from government to economy to infrastructure, and it's almost like if nothing is working from where we want it to work from, how can we get better? Let's even start from the foundation. Many institutions today, right, are offering courses that doesn't seem to have headway in providing some sort of financial stability for these people. Why? Not because those courses in themselves are bad, but because we do not yet have systems that allow those courses to bear fruit in that sense. So that's already a major problem. And yet we have people that are being chunked in. In fact, let me not even lie about this one now. In the school I just graduated from, I realized that about new courses were introduced into the institution. And I had questions. I'm like, before you introduce new courses, what is the end goal? What is the future, plan with this particular course? Is it just to have people learning and learning? What's going to happen? Will this learning translate to something quite tangible for people? And so we want to talk about all of this that happens that makes some people go into depression. Some people feel like they've gotten to midlife crisis. They don't know how to go about their lives. So the first thing I would say is that, the higher institution is actually a good place to leverage on growth. So I've started with my introduction already. I'll allow God to mention one or two things. What do you think? How do you think young people can leverage higher institution before transitioning into that after work life? Looking at that particular post I told you that person mentioned, that was trying to sell doom, that don't be so happy. You are selling doom now, because imagine someone that is just ready to, well, it's actually selling doom.
I think it was a call to action, really.
What action?
Yes, because to be honest, a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to the labor market, there's a lot of work to do. Do you understand? I'm so sorry, but university doesn't prepare everybody for that. I feel like the few persons that are maybe prepared are probably the lawyers, maybe doctors. Like, these are people that
courses.
Yeah, these are people that they take you to the work. Like, you see what exactly you are going to face when you are in court or when you're in the hospital. Do you understand? But when it comes to some of these other courses, I feel like they just tell you guys what is in the books and you guys keep it moving. Then there's that, they expect that once you enter the labor market, you figure it out yourself. Do you understand? And I feel like that's what happens a whole lot. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and that's why most of the time you see people come out, even with first class, and they're confused on what to do exactly. Because one, what they are telling you, what are the things you're expecting to hear and all the things that they have told you guys in the university, when you come to, the real world, it's not there. It's not happening. You're looking for a job. You cannot find job. They've told you that, don't worry, once you pass, once you do this, once you do that, all you need to do is to A or your this thing, and by the time you come out, you will see job opportunity. Even when you get, the payment is to be honest, it's more like, everything that is said in the university is more like that you're in that fairy tale world. Then when you come, you're not saying that more. You have to hustle and you have to do this and do that for you to get what you want. So I feel like there should be a balance, right? And just like you said, in as much as you're bringing all of these sweet courses, they sound very interesting in the ear: transportation, fishery, beautiful. But then
entrepreneurship, there are courses called entrepreneurship in the university, and trust me, I don't think these people eventually get to even start a business. So I'm not trying to criticize here, but we should have more practical uses of these words and all of these things. Now I'm going to go back to one conversation we had. We read in the news, and I've been expecting a follow-up for too long. But guess what? I didn't see any follow-up, and that hurt me because I already predicted that I'm not going to get any follow-up on this news. Like I said that day, we like to sell pink box solution. Just give us something to make us admire for a while, not knowing the real content of it or how it can even, come to life. And that was about the S2W initiative, skills to work. Do you understand? And I was mentioning that day that yes, some of these initiatives are making sense, and it's like you're already having to create something that youth can leverage on to work on and become better and all of that. But let's start with the universities. Universities are a major way for us to make progress. Now, there was a particular, somebody just sent this to me, so I'll read it for us to have perspective. And that was from the president's speech yesterday. I think before them, the NANS president, one of these, I think they had to commend the president's administration towards their intentions and, how deliberate they are in the educational sector. I would say maybe there's been some effectiveness in that way, right? We've not had any strikes since he came into power. So that's one way students can say there is. Do you understand? Before then, there were a lot of threats of strike and everything, but recently we've not had any. And then the introduction of the NEL fund and everything. So that seems to look like, okay, there's a bit of intentionality there. So I think the president had to also mention during his speech yesterday that they are committed to giving more opportunities to young people through job creation and skills development through such programs as the NEL Fund. They're investing in education, vocational training, apprenticeship, and internship to ensure our youth are job-ready and future-ready. And it's beautiful. I'm sure one of these initiatives has to do with the S2W stuff. I've forgotten even the full details of it. But let's start seeing and launching into this program. Now, I'm going to take this discussion away from what we are expecting from the authorities and what we're expecting from the top people to what we can do ourselves. Do you understand? And I'll start it with this way. We all have to be honest with ourselves. Honesty is the first way to make headway in a country. Acceptance, as they will call it. If you get into a university, I was speaking to someone yesterday, we were 200 level students, and so this girl was part of the persons that just got a new course to study. She had written JAM 4 times.
Oh, wow.
So she, in fact, from hearing what she was saying, she was already feeling a bit depressed, and she just wanted to get into school at all cost. So the course they gave her is a very new, I can't even remember it, but it has something to do with social and initiative. And I've not heard of a course like this before. You're going to spend 4 years. I'm not trying to play down on whatever her motive was, but clearly underlining it was the fact that she just wanted to get into the institution. So the first thing that at that point I was just looking at is you have to firstly accept that maybe or maybe not headway can come from this. That is, building a career, a future, having financial stability might not necessarily come from this. And it's not trying to be negative or pessimistic. It's just looking at what is possible, what is obtainable. Do you understand? How, what can I do with this when I leave? There's this thing universities sell now, which is very pathetic. That orientation service. It's pathetic because you are deceiving us many times. I don't want to be so absolute, but I'm just talking like a Gen Z, somebody who is in the system and not like them, because they also have their perspective to how they see things. So I'm saying my own perspective now. So there's this thing where you come to the class and I remember one lecturer because some of the people I had in my classes were people that wanted to do psychology. Because psychology and guidance and counseling are a bit related. So if they couldn't get into psychology, FSS, they can be quite tough. So some of them would want to come to guidance and counseling. I even had people that wanted to do accounting. And my course is that they brought different people from all the corners of the earth to the course. So our first day lecture, the lecturer will come out and say, I know most of you didn't want to do this course, but let me tell you, there are a lot of...
More like selling the course and telling you why you should be there.
Maybe to help them even settle in properly, because some of these people still struggle in 300 because you don't want to. You are there. Just finish well and think of how you can get better. So they sell us this thing of, don't worry, you can still... In fact, do you know this person is doing this from here and here? They've sold you their story. It's now left for you to create your own story. Because if you're entering into the university, you need to enter with the fact that nobody is going to rewrite your story for you. Nobody is going to create that future that you want. They will show you options. They will show you things that are possible. You will see examples of things that are possible, but you'll be the one that will eventually have to create your story. How did I transition to the media space? I really did not. Well, from SS3, I wanted to be many things. I wanted to be a lawyer. Yes, we've all been through that.
Tell me about it.
I wanted to be a lawyer at first, then I wanted to be a journalist. So when I finished YX, somebody was like, lawyers, you just gonna open one Omenkan Coast, Omenkan Sons company. Are you sure this is really what you want to do? And I was discouraged because my heart was really tender and I was listening to a lot of comments. I'm really wondering if I had chosen the law, would that have made... I think I would have. If I watched Suits movie, I'll be able to do it.
Come on now.
So then I wanted to also be a journalist because in school I was in press club and in debating society. So I really loved talking and engaging people. But somehow that dream died. So eventually I was like, let me even go to the education sector. I like to impact lives. You know, there was a time they were selling us that dream too, that, you know, there's dignity in labor and teaching. Like, let me also start up my own school as an administrator and bless children. So that's how I transitioned into education. But I wanted to do English education at first, and it didn't even work out for me at that point. So I think the next one was guidance and counseling, because I also loved psychology. So multiplicity of interests. At the end of the day, I had to now enter into the university to study this. But when I got in, I realized that
what I ordered.
Not what I ordered. It was quite an enjoyable course, honestly. I loved it, but I wouldn't lie to you. The prospects are not as encouraging as I have seen in other nations, in other countries, in other places. Do you understand? Even from the people behind that were seeing, I'm like, I don't like the way this path is looking. But also, I was able to create a future for myself because I exposed myself to information. I wasn't the type that you would see in parties, because I came from a conservative background. You won't really catch me there where they are making a lot of noise. But you catch me at conferences, you catch me at seminars. And trust my school, they have a number of them across different faculties. So when some of these things were happening, you see experts, facilitators from different sectors just come to talk about the opportunities in different sectors. And I think at that point was when tech skills were coming up. But I knew deep down that these technical skills might not really be for me. Even though later on they started letting us see that tech is not just all about the technical skills. There are other areas you can venture in. But by then, I now settled in for what I wanted to do in communications. Do you understand? And so eventually what helped me, right, and it's still helping me, and I'm still open to that help, is the fact that I allowed information. I wasn't like rigid. I had people in my class that their life was just let me use the 9 to 5, even though it's not 9 to 5, but it's probably an 8 to 6. That's how school work is. So you just go to classes, go for lectures, go to class again, go for lectures. If you're religious, go to the chapel or go to the mosque, and that's all. You really leave the school after 4 years and feel a bit frustrated. So one of the ways to secure your opportunities in the future, especially in the work-related area, is to ensure that by the time you get into school, you expose yourself to information. I know there's something they call overload of information, but sometimes it will shock you that you really don't have as much information as you think that you have. Because sometimes you might think that, oh, I got some of these conferences, they load me with a lot of information. No, I don't want to. By the time you open yourself to many of these things, somehow your mind has a way to sieve out the ones that it doesn't want and the ones that catches your interest, and you are able to build things from there. So what did some of these conferences teach me? I wanted to be someone who, was impacting people through conversations. And that was how I started transitioning back into media. The dream I had in SS2, and I wanted to be a journalist, that I dropped because I wanted to be an educator. Many of these things somehow just link together. And so I'd like to hear your own thoughts as well. What do you think students should embrace firstly when they get into school? I mentioned information. What other part do you think? Talking about how to create their own future for themselves and not waiting for what one government will do or what one lecturer told you during orientation. How can they create a future that makes sense? So
I think that is actually to see how the world is evolving. I'm someone to always notice things because I'm a good observer.
I love it.
And I feel like, in as much as, just like you said, we already know these things that, you might actually come out even with a first class and still not get a job. And even if at all, you will probably be paid, lower than you expect. So I'm actually someone, like I said, it's good to observe and know what exactly is going on in the industry, right? And that is something that's actually helped me as a person. Yeah. So I think I started writing at the age of 16, if I'm not mistaken. My dad is an author, so yeah, that's it. So it wasn't out of, oh, I love writing, because I've always loved reading, right? I mean, I was one of those persons that would buy Nas Boy book. I don't know if you remember those literature, those face-to-face, something around Take Me Home, yeah. So I read all of those books, and it kind of exposed me into storytelling. And I'm someone that I love to tell people, I like to talk. I mean, talk actively. I'm always talking, right? I'm always talking actively. So for every time I have the opportunity to explain things, I always want to do that. And I think that, one thing that can actually help you when you get to the labor market is actually to understand your person. Because really, as a writer that I am right now, it wasn't difficult for me to say, okay, you know what, let's take writing professionally. Let's see what we can actually do with it. And now that I'm a content writer, a copywriter, a screenwriter, a script writer, I'm not all of these things because, oh, I want to. But one, I've first looked at what is going on. The world is evolving. I mean, there's a lot of tech-related, courses like content writing that you can actually leverage on, right, and make money off it. Honestly speaking, if I tell you people that write for the screens, if I tell you how much they make
from it
just in 2 weeks of writing scripts, just like of writing stories and all of that, there's a lot of money in it, right? So I've been able to, like I said, I've been able to get all of these things, one, from observing that the world is evolving. There are some, you have to always develop yourself, right? Regardless of whatever you must have learned in school. And I think that's one problem. So that a lot of us are still a bit rigid. We are still very, we are still very boxed in. We want to, continue from what we learned in school or in uni. So probably somebody that did maybe guidance and counseling, like you've always, talked about. Yeah. And imagine such a person saying, this is what I want to do, and you come to the labor market and you can actually see that you probably cannot get a job, or even if you want to get what you're going to pay you is not what you're looking for.
Create your own job, create your own counseling clinic.
Exactly. There was this I can't remember what it is exactly, but I think there was a particular video I was watching, right, where this guy was saying that as at the time he used to play video games and everything around tech whatever. But then he also noticed that when it comes to the what do they call this thing that's been trending of late? Real estate, right? He noticed that when it comes to real estate, tech was not really into it. And what he did was simple. I love tech. I love tech-related things. I'm always playing video games and all of that. And you know what? Let me also venture into this thing and make more money. That's what it is. If you look at most of the people that are making funds right now, tech-related, you see that most of the times you just ahead with what they're passionate about. I love writing. I love this. I love that. Then look at, okay, how exactly? Ask yourself the real questions. I feel like a lot of us are not always very honest with ourselves sometimes. Yeah. You want to do something, but then you're looking at it that, okay, having to do this here might actually not make funds here. Look at what you can actually tap on. To be honest, I feel like observing will help a lot of persons. That's one thing I've actually gotten from a lot of people. Most of the people that are making funds today, the people that had a vision and, you know, they're able to exploit and get to where they are today. If you ask them, they'll tell you the first thing is observing. You observe that this particular thing that you want to do is probably not something that a lot of persons know, or it's something that a lot of people have not tapped in. That's what you're going to. Some people want to also do what other people are doing. Don't do what other people are doing. That's the problem. Because you see this person make money and this person is probably a programmer or a coder, you want to also be like that. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. And I feel like that's what also influenced the kind of, you know, courses that people even take, you know, when they go to uni. Make it make sense to me. If you've tried 1, 2, 3 times and you cannot enter, why are you forcing yourself to go to uni when you can also look at what exactly is going on and tap from it?
All right, we're going to go on a short break now. When we return, we'll wrap up this conversation very, very briefly. Please stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for sticking with us this Friday morning for our Tech and Innovation segment. Today, we're privileged to be joined by Felicia Olisa, a leading voice in the digital transformation space. She's the convener of TechStar and founder of Educate One Network. And as a governance, risk, and compliance GRC expert and principal consultant at Educate Network, she brings deep insight into ISO 27001, GDPR, and the role of compliance in tech careers. Through initiatives like the TechStar Conference, she empowers individuals and organizations to be digitally safe, remote-ready, and prepared for the future of work. So we're going to explore how tech is reshaping job opportunities, what skills are in demand, and how young people can position themselves for success in the changing workplace. Good morning, Felicia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Lagos has shown
Welcome.
you what Lagos is.
I don't want to complain.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm
I'm a
very happy.
Lagosian.
You're a Lagosian, deep down. You know, Lagosians deep down, they just take it as it
We are
comes. No
rugged.
matter what happens,
Anyway.
we cannot be defeated. But thank you
Yes.
for joining us today. Before you came on air, we're discussing about, how young people can position themselves, but we're taking it from the angle of the higher institution, how some people, because I got into conversations with some people that got into school, are doing a number of courses, they don't have fulfillment, they don't even have projection for the future. So it's almost like, I don't know what's going to happen with my life. And look at the economy and the way things are going. People have to have some sort of financial stability, and it goes back to building a career. So we're looking at the future of work opportunities in the tech space, and we don't have a lot of time, but so we're going straight to the point. I want you to look at this, space and tell us what are the skills that are really in demand that people can start leveraging on to actually create that future that they desire for themselves, especially in the tech space.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'd like to give a background story. So in the year 2020, the world was taken unawares. So what happened is that the World Economic Forum cited an article that was written by the International Labour Organization that over 225 million full-time jobs were lost.
Okay.
That's an equivalent of about 3.7 trillion in dollars and 4.4% of the global GDP. So that's a huge shaking. So people were not prepared for that. So what happened is that it gave room for the future of work. So when I talk about the future of work, I'm talking about automations causing a double scenario. So simply put, working smarter with technology in the workplace. So there are a lot of opportunities. So the World Economic Forum actually cited a report this year in January that about 170 million jobs will be created in this decade, and then 93 million jobs will be lost. So what does that mean? There are a lot of skills. So there are things that we've never thought of in time past that will bring money, especially with the aid of technology. Number one is streaming. So these are unlikely skills that people do not even think of. So what does it mean? Anything that can be aided by technology can actually bring the top. Okay, let me paint another story. You see a 7 or an 8-year-old child come into a legacy industry and disrupt that industry. This is a child that doesn't have a background knowledge of how the industry works. Because the child has been able to leverage on technology to produce something, the whole world is looking for the child. Do you understand what I mean? So there are skills that can be aided by technology. Whatever technology can help you do, those are the skills that we should focus on. Now, talking about the medical aspect, we have a lot of robotic surgeons. Do you understand what I mean? We have digital marketing, selling. We have information security, data analytics, selling. Those days, we used to have accountants as the big boys, and now if you don't have a skill that can make you work with the technology and produce the right result in a short time, you're going to lose your job. So your ability to take advantage of technology to disrupt your industry is what makes you stand out. So those are the skills we're looking for.
It's really profound.
So I like how you are, expatiating on all of these things. But I want us to be a bit more specific, right?
Yeah.
What skills exactly are we talking about? And what are these skills that because again, we're talking about people that have just left university, you know, and now they're in the labor market confused on what to do exactly.
Yeah.
What skill do you think they should take? And what are these skills that from a decade from now it will still be very relevant and profiting?
Yeah, so the thing is, number one is that a lot of people want to get into a particular skill because of the money that it's going to bring. Now look at what you have the capacity of doing. Are you interested in data analytics? Are you interested in social media marketing? Are you interested in web design? Are you interested in cybersecurity? That's selling like wildfire. Maybe not in this space, but selling. So those are the skills we're talking about. So it's not about jumping on a skill that is selling. It's about what you're passionate about. Media is selling like wildfire. There's every aspect of media that is selling. Whatever can be disrupted by technology is selling. So you can see somebody on the roadside selling just normal thing that everybody will say, but once the person takes it online and is able to use Meta to sell, you will see people trooping. So your own is to create awareness. what technology does is that it helps you, it eases the job for you. It puts you on the space that a lot of people, how did you get to know me? It was on the space. We never had interactions before. It was because I was visible. Just show up. If you have the skill, develop the skill, show up. What are you interested in? Get the skills that are required in that same field, work on it, show up, and don't be in a haste to make money. Character is also something that is very important. So talking about the future of work, before I moved to do my master's, I was working remotely in Nigeria. I was in Nigeria, I was being paid in dollars because I was working on Upwork. How did I get to know about Upwork? I learned on YouTube. YouTube is selling. Social media is selling. So whatever it is that technology can help you do, that the people want, that's in demand for you.
That's amazing. So I was listening to when you were talking before, and you mentioned, I think you had to put in some foreign countries and some things that they've done and everything. And I want us to bring it to the Nigerian context.
Yeah.
I want you to like evaluate how this market is growing in the Nigerian space. We've had people here before tell us that it almost looks like Nigerian talent are being exploited for some of these skills because they are desperate. They are okay with the 150K. They feel like it's big money, whereas someone is taking 1.5 million on your head. So it seems as though, even though we have started, Nigeria has taken a step in that space. We're not still where we want to be. So I want you to evaluate how is it looking for, how is Nigerian breaking into that market generally, worldwide? Where do we stand globally, looking at tech trends and how it's improving?
Now, when we start from home, we have cheap labor when it comes to working in Nigeria. There's cheap labor. So because of the way the economy is, everybody wants to jump on any offer that will put food on their table. But guess what? We have people in Nigeria that are earning in foreign currency in Nigeria, not ready to leave. Do you understand? So all you need to do is show up. Like I said, use opportunities like LinkedIn, position yourself, put yourself out there, ensure that you're... I want to tell you with everything that I have, that Nigerians are one of the most talented people around the world.
Yeah.
So I was in an event before I came, like this week. It was a tech event. It was for Nigerians in diaspora. Guess what? You need to see people introducing themselves, and I'm like, where have I been? They do it, and they tell you what to do, and you're wondering, these are people, normal young girls. What they are doing in the world is amazing. So that's why you see that whenever we find our way outside of the country, we do exploit because the opportunities are there. Yeah. Do we not have the opportunities here? We do have the opportunities here, but it's just that sometimes we need to learn to position ourselves. Sometimes, sometimes there's a way you push yourself out there and you're not getting results. You get tired. And that's where textile comes into play, Educate One. We are here to encourage. We're here to motivate you. We're here to tell you that you have the ability to do what you want, what you can do. Help you, even if it's just a little push, just to encourage you. When I was in Nigeria, I was searching for work. In fact, I applied for over 70 jobs on Upwork before I got my first gig.
That's some consistency.
Do you understand? So that's it.
Jobs.
So a lot of us are not ready to go through the process. We are not ready to, we've not developed thick skins. You need to get to that point where you know that head or tail, this is what I want, and I'm going to stick by it.
So I love that. Okay. You want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on what she has said with, your organization helping people discover some of these things. So what other misconceptions are you helping people break as well? Because I love to have, as we're talking about the possibilities of things, I love the fact that people are also being retrained. They're being retrained with whatever they believed before in this particular space. So what misconceptions needs to be broken for people to have, proper leverage in this space as well?
Number one that I'll tell everyone that needs to listen is that you're enough. Create a platform for yourself. Now, you can start with social media marketing. Put yourself out there. So nobody's really, a lot of people are not ready to give you a platform if you don't show up. You're enough. Build a capacity. Package yourself. There's this thing that happened recently. I don't know about this girl. You know this girl that trended with the NYC stuff?
Yeah.
I went to her page. Guess what? She works on Upwork. She earns in dollars. I went to this other girl. She's very popular.
Yes,
she earns in dollars. She's in Nigeria. I know one teenager. Not a teenager. She's in her early 20s. She's in Abuja. She's making a hell of money with her own platform. Start from somewhere. Just start from somewhere. Put yourself out there. Even if you need to, just say something on social media. Put out yourself. Ensure that your skills are solid. Build your skills and then put yourself out there. So what I want to tell, the only misconception I need to correct is that you're enough. Don't let anybody look at you and tell you that you're not enough. Because the same you will step out of this vicinity and you'll make great exploits. take advantage. We have people that want to listen to you. Even if you don't get people from this, where we are, people will see the world is global.
Yep.
That's it. You're enough.
I like that. So I want us to talk about the educational system here in Nigeria, all right? If you have the opportunity to speak to the government or the Minister of Education, I mean, I hear he has been doing a lot of good things, so I would want you to speak to him directly now. What are those things that you think we need to put in? Because again, just like Olisa has stated earlier, there are lots of courses new courses that they are bringing in. But then, if you listen to them, when it's not giving futuristic vibes. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So, if you have to speak to the Minister of Education today, what are those whatever that you think needs to be incorporated into the educational system to actually help both the university graduate, people that are just going in, people that are coming out? I mean, in general.
I would like to tell them to do an evaluation.
Okay.
Go back and do an evaluation. What is selling in our markets? How do you want to place your people? Do you want them to be local champions, or you want them to be internationally recognized? Do you want them to have a global perspective of life? Do an evaluation. What is needed? What does the government need? Every government, every organization or institution, or have a policy that is secluded to them in their own tenor. Mm-hmm. So which is totally, I think, is kind of wrong, because the idea we have our policy is when you change policy, you've changed politics. Right. There should be a continuity. Do an evaluation. What are the skills that are needed, that are in demand globally, that will put Nigerians in the global space? The good thing about us is that we've been able to discover the skills ourselves without the help of the government.
Honestly.
And I think we now need more collaboration with these private organizations and the government, because at the end of the day, the government still has some sort of, upper hand and control. Imagine if they tap into this kind of vision. It's going to be widespread. So it's not just some localities that are benefiting, but other areas that are even untouched, like in the northern side of our country. So I'm looking at a point where we can come to a collaboration. I see a lot of private institutions and organizations having great initiatives to set up things like this, but we need more involvement with the government on all of this, and I think that the future of work would actually be better. So this is where we wrap up our conversation. I wish we had more time with you, Miss Felicia, but definitely we're going to have you on the table some other time to explore this. All right, the future of work is here, and tech is leading the charge. From digital safety to remote jobs and global opportunities, it's clear that those who stay ready won't have to get ready. And a big thank you to Felicia and Olisa for showing us that tech space isn't just for coders, it's for anyone willing to learn, to adapt, and to show that they're enough. So wherever you are, start now. The future is digital and it's waiting for you. Till next time, stay curious, stay ready, and ensure to subscribe to YouTube channel at the official Upgrade TV. Interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow us on all our social media platforms. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again Monday till Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Bye.